Hi Capricorn, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your April 2022 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, we have a Celtic cross spread as always, and also pulled a 4 agreements, oracle card, and Mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where you folks should be as far as that goes. Alright. So we have Cancer, and for you guys, Cancer is your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. Astrologically speaking, there's not really anything going on there, but could just be saying you have a focus there either way. We have 5, so for you guys, 5th house is actually Taurus energy, and as we get toward the end of April, we're actually going to be into Taurus season, and there's also going to be an eclipse toward the very end of April as well in Taurus. And let me see what else. Oh, and of course we have Uranus, has been there for quite some time. Alright, and we have Pluto, and Pluto's been in your sign for a very long time. It's at around 28 degrees or so in your sign, so it's getting closer to the end of that transit, but yeah, could just be saying that that's going to play a role this month as well. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started with the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Page of Cups. So for some of you, this could just represent you possibly extending an offer. For some of you, it can be a romantic offer. For others of you, it could just be around a creative project of some kind. But either way, it looks like there's a slight lack of confidence around you coming forward with that offer. In fact, the saying that comes to mind looking at this card here is fish out of water, right? Because we see that fish in the cup there. So it could just be saying that you might feel like you're out of your comfort zone and coming forward to make this offer. In the challenger obstacle position, we have the 4 of Wands, Aries energy, 3 of Swords, Libra energy, and King of Swords, Aquarius energy. So I can see this playing out a couple different ways. For some of you, could just be saying that maybe in the past you might have come forward with an offer like that, and you might have been met with a very cold response. So that could be part of why you're nervous in doing so now. But for others of you, could just be saying that you might actually receive that type of response when you do come forward with the offer this time around. But what I would say, just looking at this energy as a whole, it might not necessarily be that someone actually is that cold toward the offer. It just might be, again, because if this isn't an energy that you're normally in and that's throwing you for a loop, it might also throw the other person off for a loop, you know? So it could just be one of those situations there and might be a temporary thing. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of seeing there. That looks like you may come forward to this person with an offer and might be met with a bit of a cold response. And for some of you, this could be around finances too, given that Aquarius for you guys does represent your 2nd house of finances, and there's going to be a lot of energy going on there. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 10 of Swords. So yeah, this is actually Gemini energy here, which for you guys is your 6th house of work, daily routine. So yeah, this is another indicator that for some of you, this can be around the work idea. So for example, let's say you present some kind of a creative idea, like, hey, I think this is something we could incorporate into our work that'll actually improve the overall conditions, right? But you might be met with a bit of a cold response to that, and you might feel like they're completely disregarding the idea. Again, part of me gets an idea that maybe that's not going to be the actual case, or it just might be more of a temporary thing, but that could be their first reaction to it. But that's what I see there. All right, in the past position, we have the High Priestess. So usually I view this as Pisces energy, but more than anything, I feel like this is saying that you probably thought through this idea for quite some time, right? It might have been one of those things that intuitively you just kept feeling like you should bring this idea forward. You might have given it a lot of thought before coming forward, but yeah, it looks like this is something that's probably been on your mind for a while. All right, in the present position, we have the 5 of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here, and it can just represent, again, like I said, feeling maybe disappointed that you didn't get quite the response that you were expecting. So for some of you, this could be around friendships too, because for you guys, Scorpio is your house of friendships. But yeah, looks like there was an idea that you came forward with, maybe expecting that, hey, all right, once I present this idea, everyone's going to be on board, everything's going to be really smooth, right? And you might have seen the opposite. All right, in the near future position, we have the Knight of Pentacles. So in a way, what I see with this is Virgo energy for one, which for you guys represents your ninth house. So it could just be saying that you may see things from a higher perspective, right? And maybe even from that initial response that you get from people, that might cause you to tweak your idea a little bit, right? Like, okay, maybe they're looking at it like, all right, it sounds good on paper, but is it practical, right? So this could be you guys coming back around with the same idea, but just tweaked a little bit to where it comes across as more practical, especially if you're dealing with someone with like a King of Swords, right? Where they might want to have something presented to them in a very practical way versus a more emotional way. All right, in the position of your influence on the situation, we have the King of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here. So yeah, the first term I got with the Page of Cups was a fish out of water. Now here I'm feeling like alone on an island is a thought that comes to mind, right? Because it looks like he's sitting in that throne there, but it just appears to be in the middle of the water, right? So could just be one of those things where, like I said, this is an idea that you have a lot of hope for, right? But you might just feel like no one in the environment seems to be supporting it at this time. All right. In the environment position, we have the Five of Wands. So yeah, it looks like there's just a scattered energy in general. Now, to be fair, if this is the environment that you're in, right, it would make perfect sense that you would have come forward with an idea like, okay, clearly the way we're doing things right now isn't working, right? If we look at this, there's no real focus here. Everyone's trying to do things their way. So it's definitely a possibility that the idea you came forward with was perfectly reasonable and actually would improve things, but it just looks like this month the environment around you, they might not really be seeing things um, from the same perspective as you. So that could be what we're seeing with that. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Page of Wands. Excuse me. So, yeah, for some of you, again, this could just be the fear of actually taking that action, right? Because part of you might feel deep down like, okay, yes, it is a great idea, but are they going to see it that way, right? So that could have been, excuse me, something that you guys are struggling with. Kind of like my voice is struggling right now, but yeah, that's what I see with that. And in the outcome position, we have the Empress. So I can see this playing out a few different ways. For one, I usually view this as more of the Taurus side of the Venus energy versus the Libra, just because it seems like such an earthy type of atmosphere. But so with that in mind, you did have fifth house come up in your dice too. Well, this could just be saying that as we get closer to Taurus season, you might just have a little bit more faith in what you put out there, right? Like, okay, you know what? I gave them the idea. If they want to still continue in that Five of Wands energy, which is clearly not productive, versus the idea that I gave, which is much more stable with the Four of Wands energy, right? Like, I'm just going to leave them to it, right? You just kind of sit back and say, you know what? It's out there. We'll see if they catch on to it or not. And that might actually put you in a much more relaxed energy as well. And for some of you, it could just be saying that that might be as we get closer to Taurus season toward the end of April. So it could just be one of those things with, you know, the energies early on Aries season, right? Maybe everyone's just insistent on doing things their way with all the Aries energy. And as we get more to Taurus energy, people might be more open and receptive to those ideas. All right. And bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit, which is Virgo energy, which for you guys is your ninth house. So again, like I said, I feel like you're trying to look at things from a higher perspective, right? We mentioned that with the Knight of Pentacles, which is also a Virgo energy. And if we look at his position and spread, he's actually looking right down at that situation. So yeah, it could just be one of those things. Technically, at the time I'm recording this too, we haven't had that full moon in Virgo just yet. So for some of you, this might even start out before we physically get into April. But that's what I see with that. All right. Next, we have don't take anything personally. It says release self-judgment. All right. Let's see what the message says. All right. I'm trying to get it to focus. There we go. It says even the opinions you have about yourself are not necessarily true. Therefore, you don't need to take whatever you hear in your own mind personally. So, pretty good message there as far as, especially for those of you, if you might take the response that you receive from others very personally and start to be a little bit self-critical, right? Because like what I said here, it looks like seeing this in the environment that the idea you have is definitely a better way to go about a situation, but you can't necessarily force other people to see it that same way, you know? So that's what I see with that. Alright, moving on to your Wisdom of the Oracle card. You guys got Milk and Honey. There's the artwork, and the number is 51, so we'll see what this has to say. Looks like a very positive card, so yeah. Like I said, for some of you, it could just really be that initially you might be met with a cold response to your idea, but as we get closer to Taurus season, you might start to see people come around a bit, but we'll see what the messages there say. Alright, it says, the taste of prosperity, opportunities born of authenticity, nurturing abundance, trusting that your needs will be met. The Oracle's message, you've entered a sweet time in your life, enjoying the land of milk and honey that everyone wants to experience. It's an interlude that feels more languid than ambitious, when all your senses are awake to the unlimited possibilities in the universe. These times are precious and only come when you're in your authentic zone, wearing the world as a loose garment, not wanting, yet able to be nourished in ways both tangible and subtle. Abundance is an energy that you are a living part of. All your needs are being met. You are given the gift of nourishment in every form. So yeah, reading that again, I'm definitely feeling the energy that for most of you might not be feeling that energy right now, but especially seeing the Empress, which definitely is an energy that represents abundance. I still feel that as we get closer to the end of April, you'll start to feel more of that energy. Alright, the relationship message says sensuality, connection, and passionate romance between lovers, sweet moments of understanding, and love among friends and family are all here for you to savor now. Your heart's calling will be answered. Let your thoughts and feelings be sweet with gratitude, and you'll be nourished with the honey of abundance. Alright, so for a lot of you, I didn't necessarily get a one-to-one relationship thing here. It seems a little bit more career-related, but for those of you who are looking for guidance there, hopefully that did resonate. In worst case, if not, we'll have the love readings done next week. Alright, the prosperity message says, there is only one authentic you. This version of yourself is Spirit's emissary in the world. When you're in alignment with the truth that you are a unique expression of the divine, your ego can rest and your soul can illuminate your purpose. Now is the time when you're seeking your true north. When you find this direction, you automatically step into prosperity, and the world brings evidence of abundance. Miracles are a choice and a way of seeing the world. With every choice you make right now, you have the potential to seize good fortune and embrace your destiny. Opportunities will lead you to your best life now. Be open to them. You're getting a sweet taste of what you want. So, pretty positive message there too. And like I said, for some of you, that could just be what this is about as well. Or like I said, you might be going through an internal shift, and you might come forward with that because you feel good about it, but it just might be a bit strange to those in your environment if that wasn't the normal energy that you would come forward with, you know? So it just might be a bit of an adjustment period needed from your environment. Alright, and lastly we have Mudra card. So this is your Mudra here. It's the Panchamukha Mudra, and the keyword for it is integration. Right, and there's the info on it there if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain by affecting the corpus callosum, which acts as a bridge between the two hemispheres, improves concentration and memory retention, benefits the tendons, activates the body's self-healing power. So if that sounds like a mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, I'll put the name of it in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.